Hello, Phillypreneurs. This is David Spears of Phillypreneurs.com, and I have the pleasure of interviewing one of our very own here in Philadelphia, Chris Stanchek of TicketLeap.com, and I'll let him tell you more. I'll let him give you guys the elevator pitch because he's a lot better than I am. But we're going to ask him some good questions, and I'll just give it to you, Chris, for give you 30 seconds to give us your elevator pitch. So go ahead.
All right, Dave. Thanks. Yeah, so TicketLeap, we're an online ticketing solutions provider, and basically what we do is we help events and organizations to sell tickets for their events online. You know, we originally saw ourselves as kind of like a Ticketmaster for smaller events out there. Now we like to think of ourselves more as like a PayPal for tickets, and basically it's a really simple and easy to use platform that lets anyone out there sell tickets for their event in just a couple minutes. So that's essentially what we do.
Awesome. Thanks, man. So let me just ask you this. When did you guys start the company? How did you find funding to do this? And why Philadelphia?
Yeah, well, the company, the idea of TicketLeap started back in 2001, actually. A friend of mine was having an event, and he needed to sell tickets for it, and Ticketmaster wouldn't cover the event. They wouldn't support it. So he needed a simple registration form where people can go on there and sell their tickets. So I saw it as a good way to make a little bit of money because I figured out I could charge a couple $dollars per ticket, and I said, okay, well, if I sell a few thousand tickets, that's a nice little business venture. It wasn't that hard to do. Anyway, his event ended up getting canceled, and then that's how the business sort of started, because I had to create a company and there was no event, no customer, and I said, okay, well, what do I do with this now? And right about that time, I went to Penn, so I was in the Wharton Venture Initiation Program. I submitted my business plan to that, and it got accepted into the program, and that's kind of how it started. So the reason we're in Philly, it has a lot to do with the fact that I'm from here, but also Wharton helped me a little bit in the beginning in terms of giving me some support, and now it's great because we have an office right in Center City, so we have lots of people who come out of the university system in this city, and there's a lot of just great talent that's out there. So we could have actually last summer we closed some funding, and we were in a situation where we could have moved the company anywhere, and I decided that I wanted to go right in the middle of Philadelphia.
Awesome, man. That's really great. So what is it about Philadelphia that, if you could change something in terms of business structure, tax laws, everything like that, what would you change in Philadelphia to make it easier for startups and small businesses?
Well, I'd say without a doubt the wage tax would be one thing. Just because anytime you hire somebody, it's like that's something that now they take into account. They say, okay, well, if you're first off, you're a startup, so you can't typically pay as much as you could if you were a larger corporation. So they have to kind of take the hit there. And on top of that, they get another hit from the city taking part of their paycheck as well. So it would be great if there was a way that startups in the city could get a period of time where they wouldn't necessarily have to pay the wage tax, and I think that would help bring more companies to actually to establish themselves in Philadelphia, because there's a real financial incentive to leave. So
yeah, that's been a consistent theme as I've talked to other Phillypreneurs, and that wage tax is a killer. There was a suggestion by one of the boards at City Hall. They were looking into it, and they were suggesting that the tax reform team that was looking into what we can do in Philadelphia to promote new business, and they recommended phasing out the wage tax by 2015. I prefer if they would just cut it all at once, but looks like it's going to take a couple years.
Yeah.
So I guess my next question would be, you're going up head-to-head, or maybe not. You compete with guys like Ticketmaster. How do you take them on? What's your value proposition that differentiates you from a Ticketmaster?
Right. I think for us, Ticketmaster isn't. We're not. Our concern is not with Ticketmaster so much as it is with some of the other startups that are more along the lines of what we're doing. If you look at the ticketing space, there's, we focus on something called the long tail of the ticketing market, which is basically all the small to mid-sized events that are out there. Ticketmaster is focused on all the larger types of events, and right now they're having their own issues to contend with. There's a company, Live Nation, which represents a significant portion of their revenue for the last few years. They're actually leaving Ticketmaster and developing their own ticketing platform. And on top of that, there's other larger kind of like media groups out there that are targeting Ticketmaster's business as well. So for us, it's not a difficult thing to serve the market we serve at a competitive rate, compared to Ticketmaster, just because they don't, as a company, they don't have the capability to operate, with the same sort of efficiency and agility that we have. And that's fine because we're not going after their space, and it doesn't seem like they're really going after ours that much either. But there are some other startups out there that are doing a good job as well. So it's going to be interesting to see the next couple of years and how things unfold. And I think right now where we operate, there's no dominant provider out there. There's no uniform way that these small to mid-sized companies or events are selling their tickets. And someone's going to come up with a solution that's sort of the perfect fit, and and that company is going to be the one that sort of owns the space. So we're hoping that that's us.
Oh, really cool. I hope so too. So you guys recently are delving into the new media online. Like you guys are. I mean, that's where you are. You sell your tickets online and everything like that. And you recently delved into the Facebook social networking app.
Yep.
How's that working out for you? Are you seeing any returns on that? Is it something you're going to continue to develop, or has it been a bit of a disappointment for you?
No, we're definitely seeing returns on it from a sort of, return on the investment from a time and cost standpoint. We didn't put a whole ton into it. Basically we saw Facebook is having this great assortment of all these events that are out there and no way to really sell tickets for those events. So what we did is, instead of trying to replace the Facebook event system, we just made a simple way for people who have events to sell the tickets. And we didn't put a whole ton of money behind the marketing side of it or anything like that, but basically it sort of developed a little bit of a viral marketing. It started spreading virally, and basically for us, it's not about having thousands or even millions of users on the application, because we don't need millions of users, because we're not making money on the advertising. We're making money on the ticket sales. So if a user sells 10 tickets on it and we can make $1 each, that's $10 from that one user. And so if you look at what's sort of typical on Facebook applications, that's really doing much better than the other applications that are out there. So our goal is to really expand that application and bring it to other social networks as well.
Great, that's awesome. I'll be looking for that on Facebook. Is there any, as we finish up here, are there any, first of all, are there any URLs or anything you want to plug about TicketLeap? And second of all, in terms of inspiration for being an entrepreneur and being a dynamic business owner in this new world, this new media world, is there any specific people or resources that you would point other Philippineurs to for inspiration and just general know-how?
Right. Well, yeah, Philadelphia, first off, it's interesting. There's a lot of stuff going on. There's a lot of different groups, which I think is really exciting, because when I started this, as I said, I started a few years ago, and there wasn't any kind of, I felt a little bit alone. And right now I see there's a whole community being built, and there's a lot of different groups. I mean, obviously Indy Hall, where you're sitting right now, is, I think, an interesting group of people, both on, from a co-working standpoint, also just it's a cool, like, social gathering as well. But there's other groups in Philadelphia, like Philly Startup Leaders and PANMA and things like that, that I think are interesting as a way, especially if you're new to the city, to kind of learn about what's going on, and then kind of just find out who's who in the town. But then, in terms of, like, sort of from an entrepreneurial standpoint, one of the things that really helped me is this book, The Art of Start by Guy Kawasaki. It's sort of like my Bible. And, so I read that, and a lot of what I've done is sort of based on that Bible. And actually, about six months ago, reached out to Guy Kawasaki and said, hey, would you mind taking a look at my business plan? And he actually looked at it, and now he's an advisor to our company. So
that's awesome.
So he's been a great resource for us. As have, there's just a lot of different people in my network who are helping right now as well. So
I actually had the pleasure of meeting Guy Kawasaki at South by Southwest this year. Really cool guy. really a great asset to have on your board of advisors. I imagine that's going to come in very handy.
Yeah, he's one of those people that just sort of is kind of like inspirational person to listen to, and he definitely, it's not all just inspiration. He also kind of understands the economics of running a business and what you're after. So
that's awesome.
So he's a great person to have helping us.
Well, Chris, thank you so much for giving us your time. I know you're a really busy guy. You got a lot of stuff going on. But, again, that's ticketleap.com, TICKETLEAP.com. We'll put a link in here. And, yeah, Chris, thank you so much. And we're looking forward to seeing what happens with Ticket Leap and watching you go and really the long tail develop on that. So it's a great idea. I think it's a great model, and I look forward to seeing it work.
Thank you.
All right, Chris.
Appreciate
Thanks again.
All right, thanks.